Greetings, all. Welcome to Aquarian Diary. I'm your host, John Irving. It is October 14th, 2025. This past weekend, I was working on my episode about hard Uranus transits that are going to be affecting people through the spring of 2026. There's been a lot of really interesting comments on that episode. If you haven't seen it yet, I'll put a link in the episode description, as I usually do. One of the things I had to do was to calculate all the points in time through 25 and into the spring of 26, where planets either stationed retrograde or went direct. And I noticed something very interesting, and I wanted to draw your attention to this. A lot of people have really been struggling with this crazy energy that we have been going through, especially in 2025, which, by the way, is a 9-year numerologically, which means endings. It's a 9-year cycle. And 2026 is a 1-year, which is new beginnings. So we're ending a 9-year cycle and about to begin a new one next year, which falls very much in line with what I've been predicting in recent episodes, is that 2025 would be insanely transitional. And that's always difficult, because it involves a lot of change and endings and things like that. Whereas 2026 is going to feel much more like new beginnings, which is exciting. We all like that, right? Even if at the very beginning, we don't know exactly where we're going or how we're going to get there, there's always that anticipation and excitement of a new journey. And I think everyone is ready for that. Like, we're so sick of the status quo that this should be a real breath of fresh air for everybody. But I noticed something really, really interesting. And I don't know what the odds of this occurring are, but they've got to be pretty small. Again, I will be showing some graphics on the screen. If you're watching this on YouTube, you may want to pay attention. What I noticed, and I referenced it in my previous episode, is that there's a point in time next spring when all the planets are direct. Right now, there's a whole slew of planets that are retrograde. And for me, retrogrades are often like a grind because you have to kind of like go back over things. And I'm an Aries rising, right? So I just like to move forward and to do things. I don't necessarily want to look backwards. Damn the torpedoes. But it gets even more interesting. All of the planets will be direct as of March 20th, 2026. You know what March 20th is? It's the Spring Equinox. Isn't that a coincidence? The equinox, for those who may not know, is the date when the daytime and the nighttime are of equal length, so like 12 hours. And from that day forward, the amount of time per day when it's light out starts to get longer and longer and longer. This applies, of course, to the Northern Hemisphere. This is the beginning of our growing season, obviously. So it's associated with vigorous growth, new beginnings, and fertility. The way this is calculated in Western astrology is that this is when the sun is at 0 degrees of Aries. Aries is very much associated with this energy of spring, after the winter. This is a chart showing the spring equinox. And if you look at the left, you'll see the position of all the planets, and you'll note that there are 2 retrogrades. One is Mercury, the other is the North Node, but the North Node is always retrograde, so that doesn't really count. This is at 10:48 a.m. Eastern Daylight Time. So that's the spring equinox. It's also interesting to note that Mercury is very closely conjunct to the North Node. So it's very emphasized here. Then, later that day, at 3:33 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time, Mercury goes direct. Again, very closely conjunct to the North Node. Mercury represents the mind, communication. It is the messenger of the gods. It is where information is conveyed and disseminated. It's very analytical and rational and fast. But the other thing that I find remarkable about this, of course, and you've probably already noticed, is that there is a huge, like a huge stellium in Aries. We have the Sun, Neptune, Saturn, Venus, the Moon, and Chiron, all in Aries. The other thing that's interesting at this point in time is that both Saturn and Neptune have finished transitioning through the cusp of Pisces and Aries because they have recently gone direct. And I'll also display on this screen the dates and times for all the recent retrogrades and direct motions of the planets. So here we have this huge stellium in Aries. Stellium is 3 or more planets in a sign or house. And like I said, Saturn and Neptune are now more permanently into Aries. Uranus is the only planet that hasn't fully transitioned yet. It won't move into Gemini until April 25th. So I calculated that there is a 47-day period, 47 days, where there are no retrogrades. Pluto will be the first planet to retrograde after this, which occurs on May 6th. So the energy of all of these forward-moving planets, you can think of it like they are on a journey. They're going somewhere. A retrograde is a bit more like having to stop and go backwards or retrace your steps a bit, which sometimes you have to do when you're traveling. But when their planets are moving forward, they're in motion, which most people like, especially if they're not happy with the status quo. We want change, we want evolution, we want to see progress. We don't want to do like 2 steps forward, 1 step back. We want to just keep moving. So because so many people have found this recent period of history very frustrating, I find this really remarkable, like I said, because there's so much energy in Aries, and Aries is all about new beginnings and being bold and courageous. It's ruled by Mars. Aries is very self-initiating. It is this energy of movement, of going, of standing up for yourself if you need to, of being independent, and like I said, action-oriented. So this is amazing to see all this energy in Aries, and that all of the planets are moving direct on the same day as the spring equinox. 0 degrees Aries to me is a magical point because it marks the end of endings and the beginnings of beginnings. It's so powerful. I'm actually getting chills just talking about it. So this could be something that we could all look forward to, this huge jolt of energy that will come in around the spring equinox. So we may expect to see a lot of forward momentum and change and individuated kind of energy. Maybe, for example, where people take responsibility for themselves and their own actions and beliefs more, which I think would be wonderful because that's how I think we're going to resolve a lot of the challenges that we face now. Like we've been kind of doing battle with a lot of very powerful, almost like patriarchal energy that's trying to contain or oppress us. But we are legion, to use that phrase. There's billions of us. How can a few very wealthy people, very powerful people, control billions of human beings? They can't. I've argued this for a long time, that everyone needs to be involved and take action. We have the power. It lies with us. And if that essence exists anywhere, it's in the energy of Aries. So after a long, difficult period in 25 and with all these retrogrades, as I discussed in recent episodes on astrology, here is this huge, like enormous breath of fresh air. The shifts from Pisces to Aries have finished. The shift of Uranus from Taurus, an earth sign, into Gemini, an air sign, is just around the corner. And we have like a whole window of 47 days of this momentum and action. Fantastic. I just get a very strong feeling about this, that this could be kind of a bit of a breakthrough moment. Now, one of the things that people, I think, may be a bit disillusioned about with astrology is that astrologically, transits can occur, and then people sometimes, I think, expect to see immediate, like instant results. Sometimes that's true, like with Uranus, but often what happens is that there's a shift in the energy, and then it takes time to distill and permeate down into the collective consciousness. You might see shoots or signs of it popping up here or there, but it takes a bit of time to kind of like spill out and manifest in reality. So we might look back at this point in time and recognize it as being somehow a critical step or juncture in time, but it may take a while for the results of this shift of energy to actually permeate our reality, okay? So don't necessarily expect like instant results on March 20th. That's not what I'm suggesting, and I never would. But I still find this like really remarkable because both Saturn and Neptune have crossed 0 degrees Aries, and they've done so together, which is extremely unusual. This is unprecedented in a lot of ways. So I just find this kind of exciting. And Mercury on the North Node at this time, it speaks to news, developments very fast, insights, knowledge, information coming out, or at least a trigger point for that. And in Pisces, it's quite intuitive. Stuff may be coming through in a very creative or inspired manner, or even psychic manner for people. So something to look forward to and pay attention to, I think. It's just quite remarkable to have 6 planets or points in Aries on the day of the equinox, and at the same day to have all of these bodies be direct at the same time. Quite something. Very exciting. We'll see how that plays out. Thanks everyone for your amazing comments. People tell little stories in their comments and they really validate the astrology. It's absolutely fascinating, and I can't thank people enough for doing that. Other people learn from that. We're all learning together here from these experiences and from observing them. I mean, that's one of the benefits of being older like myself, is that I have actually not just read about a lot of these transits, I've experienced them personally and reflected on those experiences. So having actual personal experience with this is extremely valuable and helpful. By the way, I have and will be sending out some emails to some past clients, particularly those whose birthdays are coming up. So you might want to check your spam folder in case it was misdirected. For more detail, check the episode description for other episodes that are related. And if you're interested in a reading with me, I'll put a link to that as well. Many sincere thanks to everyone who supports me, especially my YouTube members and astrology clients. Thank you very much. Take care, all the best, and I'll talk to you again soon. Bye for now.